Hello there. I wanted to give you some real quick background over the IA. It would be a good idea if you start doing some of this now during the summertime, because it's going to save you a lot of time. With everything that's going on with COVID, we're not really sure whether or not we will be back in the classroom come the beginning of the school year, or really when we're going to be back in the classroom. So because of that, I would highly recommend you do some of this stuff, at least getting some of the background stuff done over the summer when you have a little bit more time, because it could be kind of a confusing and stressful process depending on how the situation is going to go when it comes time to go back to school, be that virtual or in the classroom. So this website I have right here for you, I found online. It is linked on Google Classroom. It's also going to be linked on the course website. So you can find this real quick. I just want to highlight a couple things on here and make sure you kind of understand what's going on and what I should be looking for. So first and foremost, everything you're going to need for the IA is posted here on this website. Okay, so it explains right here what the IA is. And why you're going to be doing this. Okay, so it's going to be an IA. It's also known as an HI, sometimes a historical investigation. Really is what it is you're just going to be looking at a specific topic and then diving into that topic as if you were a historian. Okay, the IB program really wants to understand that you can analyze information, analyze research as if you were a historian. Okay, that is kind of the point and one of the key components of IB history. Okay, so you're going to be looking into that. It's going to explaining kind of what the IA is down here, all this different stuff right here, and then how to use this website, which you'll probably already know. So first and foremost, I would recommend you go here to the section called the question, and formulating a good research question. Okay, everything that it says right here, I would follow. Okay, you need to have something that you can debate. It needs to be something you can look at on either side. You're not simply giving me a narrative of what happened. You need to be able to argue that this is the case or this is not the case. A good thing is we've already spent in my class the last really 2 years focusing on how to do this debate, how to do this argument side. So you've kind of got a good background in that already. So make sure you're doing that. It needs to be specific. Okay, you cannot have something broad. Okay, so for example, you will not be doing your IA on the Cold War. Okay, that is way too broad. To narrow it down even further, you wouldn't be doing it just on the Cuban Missile Crisis. Again, that is going to be way too broad. So you need to make sure that it is specific. You need to have focus. Okay? You need to be focusing on a specific time, a specific event at a certain point. Good turning points, it says, are good to follow, and I would agree with that. And the reasoning why is because there is a lot of debate that you can be talking about when it comes to these turning points. I would recommend, and I'm actually going to make it a requirement, that you need to have your question formed either in a how far style question or to what extent. Okay, so to what extent means like, to what extent did, one kid's doing this here, to what extent did the Iranian Revolution lead to the rise of extremism in Saudi Arabia? Okay, so that could be a question you could be doing. Or how far did the Patriot Act go? Okay, did the Patriot Act in the United States go too far in terms of curbing civil liberties? So you should be looking at that kind of stuff. Okay, so it's important that your question is one of those. It needs to be answered within 2,200 words. Right away, if you're going to be over that, that is totally fine. I would rather actually you have too much information. So try to actually, for now, when you're doing your drafts, go for more than 2,200 words. We will cut it down later. That's going to be the better way to go. Make sure you're going to have a stronger, more compacted and more important essay. Another thing is it has to be at least 10 years in the past. You cannot talk about something that happened within 10 years. So for you guys in the class of 2022, this means you have to have stuff happening in 2012 or earlier. So make sure you're doing that. I would recommend 2011 just to make sure that you're going to have that extra range, because 2012, depending on what part of 2012 you are going to be doing your topic on, that could potentially be problematic because it might not be far enough along. So make sure you're focusing at least 10 years in the past. And you need to make sure that you have a sufficient amount of information to do your research on. If you do not have a bunch of information on the topic, it's going to be incredibly challenging for you to do your IA. So make sure that you've got a bunch of information on what you're talking about, okay? Template questions right through here. I would recommend you just follow that template and you are going to be good to go. If you have questions, let me know. Here's how you're going to be planning your IA. So again, follow what it's saying right in here. That's going to make your life a million times easier. Here are some different sample questions. I would recommend you look at these. I wouldn't necessarily do exactly what these sample questions are saying. This is just going to give you a way of kind of finding some possible ways you can look at it, seeing some things that other people have done so you understand how to take this IA forward. Again, if you find something in here that you like, you're more than welcome to do it. However, I would recommend make sure it's something that you're definitely interested in. Research stress, talk right through here. Don't really worry about that yet. We're going to get to that point later. And then concepts in history, example questions I just talked about. Okay, change, continuity, causation, consequence. Okay, significance, perspective. You can keep reading these. So these are things that you should be focusing on when it comes to your IA. Okay, these are the key concepts of IB history. The IA wants to see you focusing on these as well. So make sure you have this idea in your mind. Okay, you're talking about something that's changing. How did the change of Batista to Castro in Cuba really impact stuff? Okay, how did the continuity of the American presidential system, when you have an election and someone else comes in, how does this influence what's going on and make that system stronger? Okay, so you're going to be talking about those individual things. Section 1, Section 2, and Section 3, this is just going to break it down and kind of explain the requirements of each different section. Don't really worry about doing that as of yet. Right now, I would focus on simply finding a topic and starting to do some research on it. Now, if you'd like to start doing this, you're more than welcome to. Just let me know and I'll make sure you're good to go on that. Okay, so that's going to be the background on this website. The second thing I would like to point you to is this assignment I have posted up here on Google Classroom. Now, this is already uploaded on here for you. You all have access to Google Classroom and to this page at this point. So I would recommend, if you too would like, this would be a good place to start. This is going to be a link to that website I was just showing you. This is going to be a Google Form web quest that you're going to be doing with that website. Now, I've got this time already booked off when we come back to school. However, if you get this done over the summer, you're going to have a little bit of extra time during class to be working on actually getting your research when I can help you. So it's just going to break down everything in the IA to make sure you're really understanding what is in the IA. These things come directly off of that website I was just showing you. So I'd recommend, again, you can get this done as well. You can see the point total off to the side. This is going to be saving you some time. If you do this, I would recommend that you save it as a Google Doc. Type your answers in there if you don't have a chance to save it and finish it all in one time. In case it gets deleted, that way you're not going to be going over it again. So this would be a good way to get some stuff going for over the summer, get you in a position at the start of the school year where you're going to be ahead, because the IAs will be something that will come up on you quicker than expected. It can be a significant amount of work, but if you start early, it's not going to be a challenging amount of work, and I'm willing to work with you and make sure you get what you need to know. If you have questions or comments, please contact me. You all have my email. Otherwise, you can put a comment down below. I will see you later. Good luck. Stay healthy. Stay safe.